and welcome. You're tuning in to Unbreakable Hope with me, your host, Jessica Rose. This podcast is all about seeking the light. In each episode, we chat with someone who has either overcome the darkness or who is actively spreading light within their own community. So let's jump into today's episode. I'm excited to introduce today's special guest, Chris. Chris is a firefighter with almost 2 decades of experience, and we're going to be talking about community service, patriotism, and his amazing organization and the story behind Carry the Flag. So please join us as we talk about supporting our communities, future generations, and bringing Americans together. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited to hear more about you and your story and your amazing organization.
Yeah, Jessica, it was awesome. It was awesome meeting you out at the Firefighter Challenge. I felt like we had a really good conversation, but yeah, I'm Chris Maleta. I'm a firefighter, paramedic for 18 years, and I started the brand Carry the Flag. It came to me one day when a fellow firefighter looked at me and said, Chris, who's going to carry the flag? Who's going to carry the flag for your family, your kids, your crew?
I love that so much. Well, let's maybe start with what made you want to become a firefighter and a paramedic. How did you start that initial journey?
All right. So after college, I was in like my first year of college, and my grandfather was actually a firefighter for Kansas City, Kansas. And he always was kind of like that guy that I looked up to as a little kid. He had all these, like, I shouldn't say all these, but he had plaques on his wall. And I didn't realize until he passed away that those were, fire department plaques on, years of service and things that he's done. But there was one specific day that I still remember from like it was yesterday, was we were cleaning the gutters out. We had a ladder and we were throwing the ladder up, and I was climbing up and cleaning the gutters out. And he looked at me and said, Chris, you'd be one hell of a firefighter one day. And ever since then, made me want to be a firefighter.
That's really awesome. Both my parents served in the military, and they were both Air Force, but I remember neither of them wanted any of us going in the military, because their experience was, we want more for you. We want better for you. We don't want you to be treated how we were treated. But for me, it was that service piece, right? It's like I grew up in a family that loved this country and wanted to serve. So my natural inkling was, I want to serve. I never imagined being in my whole life. And here you've almost put in 20 years of service. Is that something that, looking up to your grandfather and really saying like, wow, like I want to be like him, and then him saying, hey, you would be a really good firefighter, really encouraging you. Did you imagine that it would be almost a lifelong career?
Yeah. I mean, when you start, you're like, hey, I'm putting in the full 32 years, so you kind of see that going into it. To me, also, I mean, yeah, it's been 18 years. Now looking back, you see all the struggles and everything that you went to get here. It's weird to look back on it and be like, man, it's been 18 years, and everything that we've gone through and seen and done. Like, it's a crazy world.
What do you feel like maybe are some of the lessons learned over your 18 years? I mean, I know like you've invested almost 20 years of your life serving your community. I'm sure that not only has affected you personally, but affected your family in ways that, not a lot of people probably understand.
Yeah, I feel like we're a little bit more calloused. You kind of get into the job, and now, your kid falls and hurts their arm or something, and you're like, just get up. You're okay. Fine. Whatever. Go. Like, we going to the hospital? No, we're not going to the hospital. You're just fine. And the next thing you know, they have a broken arm or something, and you're like, crap, parent of the year. But yeah, I mean, it's been a great 18 years to serve the community. You learn a lot and you grow up a lot from the job and getting on. Man, I was, 21 years old. I actually started on an ambulance service when I very first started, and then I got onto the fire department. But yeah, dude, I mean, over the years, like I said, you've just learned and you've grown up and you've seen things, and your attitude changes. And I don't know if that's because you're getting older or just the things that you've seen that you're just a little bit more calloused.
I feel like I can relate to that as a caregiver to my husband. I always laugh. I don't have any children myself, but I have a stepson that I helped raise, and my husband, his brain cancer came back in 2020. So I joke, I've been doing this for for 5 years now. And so it's like, oh, we had the first kid stage where anytime anything happened, I was like, oh my gosh, we need to go to the hospital. We need to get checked out. We need to, da, 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 da. And now I'm like, you're fine. Your blood pressure is what? He's fine. He's fine. He's just going to take a few breaths. It's going to be okay. Okay. So it's funny that you say that because I think that is something just our natural experiences. And a lot of the times the fear of the unknown. And as a firefighter, I'm sure you've seen almost everything and anything. Like almost, it makes me think of like is it the State Farm commercials, right? Or like
Oh,
you've seen a thing or two, right? I can't even imagine. I know what I've seen, and I know the support that I've received, especially from my fire department. I'm so blessed with an amazing fire department that has supported us over the years in many of different ways. That I'm just, we're a small drop in the pond, right? And sometimes I can see that it's almost a relief that oh they're coming here, like this is the call, it's going to be okay. And when I see them out in public, like it's almost one of those like your husband's still alive, right? I'm like, yeah. Oh, okay, it's that great connection. But you don't always have those experiences, like I want to say like easier softer calls. I'm sure you have a lot more of the people losing it, and not just like losing it emotionally, right? But also losing it their lives and having to see that and carry that. I think to me, like when I heard about carry the flag, instantly that's where my mind went, was like carrying that flag and carrying that load for so many first responders doing that amazing work.
yeah. I mean, it's just kind of a funny thing of how I put it. It's like you feel like after 18 years, you're like, okay, I've seen everything. Like, there's nothing else that's going to happen other than maybe like a mass casualty, like a gigantic incident maybe happening. I was like, seen most things. But you know what? I'm going to tell you, every once in a while something hits and you're like, I didn't see that one coming. I mean, it's wild on some of the stuff that you see and just the craziness of it. It may not even be that serious, but you'd be like, okay, well, haven't ran that one before. So it definitely is different. And we just run such a wide variety of things, but yeah, it definitely multiple talks with people, even like recently, because I do work with some non for profits and talking with them and over the PTSD and things. I mean, you definitely do start seeing that a little bit more as you get older and things, and you start realizing, well, why are you acting that way? And it is over that emotional stress. It's really weird to explain to people. Yeah, we're at the firehouse and we may not be doing anything, but we're always on alert. Like we may sleep at the firehouse, but it's not like when you sleep at home. And I honestly, I don't know how we do it. It was just last night that the tones went off, and it's like, how do I wake up for these tones in the middle of the night? And even my first apartment that I was on, the tones were even less than that, and it was just like it's really weird. So yeah, it's definitely crazy. It's definitely a crazy world, and some of the things that we see, and I can imagine everybody has the stories. I mean, you being military, also all seen stuff. So
Yeah, I joke. I'm known for stories for days. Like, there's always stories about something, and that's definitely a true piece of the stress that you just carry as well. Like you're saying, you're not really sleeping. You're always on that high alert for most people I talk to are
yeah,
72-hour shifts, and you're just high alert, like on the whole time. And I feel that way like when I sleep with my husband too, is that like I'm kind of asleep, but I'm kind of not. And I do all this research on like sleep hygiene, but that doesn't really work for people in first responder roles, like yours, or in a caregiver role. Like I can't sleep with earplugs in. I have to be able to hear if my husband goes into respiratory distress again, or if he's trying to get out of bed on his own, because cognitively sometimes he wakes up and thinks he can walk again, which is beautiful, but he can't. So that's not so beautiful.
yeah. I mean, I'll be in like one time. I remember I was in Walmart and just the click of the intercom that they were announcing something. The click of it, like immediately, like my body went like this, and it was like, holy crap! Like that sounded like the tones dropping. It was really weird. So, yeah, it is. It's weird how your body gets trained that way.
Yeah, and those
And
things like
it's hard to shut it off sometimes. Like you're on, like you said, you're on high alert at all times, even though it doesn't seem you're on high alert, but you're on alert. And then when you try to get off of that, it's just, it's tough for some people.
Yeah, I totally understand that in like a different way, right? But that's a perfect thing. I joke all the time about Marines, like we're bred to be drones, right? The Marine Corps needs us to operate and act a certain way for the safety and for the unit cohesion, right? But then like getting undroned, right? Like I was taught to function like this. You tell
Oh,
me.
I mean, exactly. And then you're brought out to civilians and you were, you know, built to act this way because I mean, like you guys are there for a reason, for war. Like you have to have that mentality of this. And then I see the struggle and understand the struggle of now trying to come to civilian life and just shut all that off where you're like, wait a second, I was just programmed for this, and now you want me to program for this? It's, I have several friends that are veterans and they definitely struggle. They really struggle and they loved that life. And there's only a certain amount of time that you can do it, and then you come to civilian life, and it's a struggle.
Yeah, a great comparison. I had an amazing chat. I was doing a research interviews with a lot of first responders working on a project. And this woman I talked to, I love that chat so much. And what or the comparison that came out right is for veterans, we train here, right? But the idea is that we train and we go somewhere else, right? So like we're going overseas for a war, and then we get to come back home. Now the war often comes with you, but for you all, you're still responding on that same city. You're
Yeah,
still in that same vehicle. Like you don't really get to necessarily leave it, right? And again, like with veterans, like war still comes with you, but for the most part, a lot of it is left there.
I
But
got
here you have all those triggers every single day. And another girl I had on my podcast, we talked about one of the calls that she was on and, driving by one day in the car with her mom, she was like, oh yeah, that's where blah, blah, blah happened. And then she said, then she realized,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
well, I'm probably a little bit numb that I could just say that, but the fact that that's always going to be on her mind when she crosses there. I love that you're
Dude,
looking
I
up.
have sorry, I have some stories that my kids will be like, "Hey, isn't that the place that?" And I'm like, "Yes, it is." Like, I have that too. I try to make them life lessons to my kids where it's like, "Hey, like, you know,
Don't do this.
yeah,
Safety first.
yeah, things like this will happen." So, um, but yeah,
Well, with that, with your children, I know you're following in your grandfather's footsteps and being a firefighter, and you have this passion and love for it. Is that something for your kids that you'd like to see, or what are things that you're setting in place to maybe help them with their futures?
yeah, I mean, definitely. If my kids want to be a firefighter, I'm pumped and excited for them. I support them in anything that they want to do. So right now, I don't think that they want to be, but I kind of get some hints from my boy where he's kind of getting a little interested in it. At first it wasn't, yeah, no, no, no. And now I start seeing a little bit of questions being asked and everything. But yeah, no, it not only was my grandfather a firefighter, but my brother's on the job too. My cousin's on the job. Two of my cousins have retired. I've had family members in another department up in northern Missouri that been on the department for over 100 years. Like, there's a long line. It did skip my dad and my uncle. There just was a disconnect, but there has been a long family tradition of firefighting in our family. So doing that, and if the kids want to, that would be awesome. But also with having the brand carry the flag, I started it. One of the reasons to teach my kids, hard work, adversity, doing things that if you put your mind to it, you can do whatever you want to do. And little did I know how hard it was to start a brand and get it going.
Well, so with that, you're saying kind of starting this, something to be able to teach your kids a lesson. Do you want to talk a little bit more about what that process was like and how Carry the Flag came to be?
Yeah, okay. So like I said, I got on the fire department What was it? I got on the ambulance service at 21 and fire department at 22. And as I started progressing my career in having a family and stuff, I ended up doing the full Ironman. I did that. I did the half Ironman three or four times, and then I did the full one time. And as I was training for the full one, I was like, man, I just want to teach my kids. I'm here to teach my kids to do better than what I've done. Teach them, other things that they can do in their life if they want to go do them. So I was like, you know what? I always had these ideas of being an entrepreneur and starting a business and doing this stuff. So I was like, you know what? I've got time now since I'm not training for the full Ironman that let me just start dabbling in this business thing. So as I think I may have said, and I'm not sure, but I went around and I started talking to anybody that I thought was successful, and I was asking them questions. Hey, and it was always business, business, business. So I was like, you know what? Let me just start this. So if my kids do choose this path, I can teach them everything that I've learned. Little did I know how hard it was going to be to start a brand, because I didn't want to do the traditional thing that every firefighter did was cut grass, remodel houses, paint houses, everything. I wanted to do something different. So I was like, all right, let me create a brand. This is going to be really easy. I put together the website, everything looked good, and nobody came. And this was actually the first brand that I started. I'm like, okay, well, that's awesome. So, long story short, it made me start developing and get uh, business relationships to where they started teaching me. I had I actually still call him a friend today, a really good friend of mine that he actually owned one of the running companies here in town. We didn't know each other. I just pitched him my idea and getting some clothes into his store, and he took me in. He was like, "Yeah, dude, bring them." Like literally, like the next day, he's like, "Bring them by tomorrow." And so that started a relationship, and we became friends actually. And he was like, "Hey, Chris, come down to the Kansas City Marathon, and you can set up your shop there inside our booth." And I was like, "Okay," like no clue what I was doing. But again, it taught me sales because in my job you don't have to do sales. People call you and you come to their house. None of that. So it taught me so much, and I'm so appreciative and like I said, we're still friends today. I've got a meeting with him next, this month. We were scheduling a meeting for this month because we've kept that relationship. But one of the things that I did do wrong was I just kept starting businesses because they said the hardest thing was to do was just to start, just start. So you kind of had some mentors that were telling you to start things, and then you would do something and it wasn't, and you're like, "Oh, crap, what am I doing?" Like, yeah, this is like successful to a point, but I'm not. It's not what I'm passionate about. Like I was lacking the passion. Was 6 months into it, I'm lacking the energy to do it. So led to me in last 9/11 stair climb. I signed up. I was supposed to do it. I've done it 4 years in the past, but I couldn't do it this year because I had family obligations. My daughter had volleyball tournament or volleyball games, and I choose family. Family's huge, and so my fellow firefighter looked at me and said, "Chris, who's going to carry the flag? Who's going to carry the flag for your family, your kids, your crew, the generations that are coming on the job that don't even know 9/11 because they weren't born yet?" I was like, "Damn, man, that's deep." He was just jacking with me because he asked me, if I was going to do it, and he was just jacking with me like firefighters do. But I was like, man, because the 9/11 stair climb has kind of dwindled. Like when it first started, you couldn't even get a spot because they only allow 343 firefighters to do it because 343 firefighters are the ones that died on 9/11. So it's just a strict firefighter event that 343, and it's just been dwindling. Some years guys are climbing it twice just because these guys have lost their lives because you take somebody's name and you climb the stairs for them. And it's been dwindling. And I was just like, dang, man, have we really got to a point in this country where we're kind of losing these values that we held on to so hard, and um, it just stuck with me. It stuck with me, and I work out early. I usually in the gym really early, and who's going to carry the flag? Who's going to carry the flag? I'm out on the run. Who's going to carry the flag? And in January, I was like, you know what? I want to do something with that. So I went to the station that day and I started designing because, like I said, I've done this multiple times, and I changed it to carry the flag. I was like, dude, that looks cool. I was like, the logo. I was like, that that looks cool. And so I kind of talked to a couple people that I knew about it, and I was like, I'm just gonna try. I just have like this is me. Like this is what I want to do. And so I just jumped out on a limb and I just started doing it. Um, People know me. I do have like my kids. Again, this a lot of this was because of my kids. I wanted to teach them, hard work and adversity. Money just doesn't come on trees. We need to go out and put out the work. So a lot of the times when I do pop-up shops, my kids come with me. You met my boy at the firefighter challenge. He was there. My daughter had volleyball that weekend or on Friday, so she wasn't able to come down with us. So she got to stay home. But they're with me at a lot of the events. So I was like, you know what? I know how to print shirts. I'm going to just print 30 of these up and I'm going to go to NASCAR was in town. And I'm like, I'm just going to go walk through the parking lot and just see if people care. I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm just going to go. My wife's like, isn't that illegal? Like, are they? I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. If they tell me to stop, I'm just going to leave. So I took 30 shirts. We drove up there and we just walked the parking lot. And I don't know really what the pitch was at the very first one. I think the people probably looked at me and were like, is this guy okay? You know? And then I went to the next tent and it actually was a paramedic that works in the same county that I work in. And he was like, dude, I love it. Like, I think he ended up buying like 3 shirts. And then I went to this next tent, was like this huge party. And, I'm like, everybody's just staring at me. And I say, but it was like, the stories that I started getting, was like, hey, I love what you're doing. My husband was a fireman that passed away from cancer. Hey, my uncle was in Vietnam, got shot down in a helicopter and died. Like, I love what this stands for. And the next thing you know, in about an hour, we're sold out. I sit there and say we're sold out, but we had like one small left. Which selling smalls is hard enough, but selling smalls at NASCAR is even harder. So, um, I kind of looked at the kids and I was like, I think we're doing something really good here. I mean, and my wife actually came out that time also. She's very supportive of it where she walked with us, I'm the whole face of it. They just let me do my thing. And it was just like the power, the messages that we were getting. It was amazing, and that's kind of where we're going with carry the flag right now. Now we did, like I said, the firefighter challenge, um, multiple other nonprofits, golf tournaments we've been to, things like that. So it's just creating this community, creating this movement, and continuing it for the next generation because I feel like our country really needs it right now. Like people forget about our veterans. People forget about our police officers. People forget about our firefighters, our, paramedics, EMTs, everybody, just the hard-working Americans that built this country and keep this country together. So that's where it's at. And I mean, you can feel the passion. Like once it hit, it was like, this is what I want to do. This is like something's calling me to do this. Like I was told that message that day for a reason. And so here we are. I know that was a lot, but
I love it. Simon Sinek says, you gotta start with your why because people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And I think that that's true. Like the moment I saw like carry the flag, I'm like, this is cool. There's a story behind this. Like I got to know this story. Um,
you're like, who is this guy harassing everybody when they walk by?
that's me too. Like I used to do I would do different vendor events for different jobs. I helped my sister-in-law with their photography business, or when I worked for state agencies, I used to have this little game. Like when I'm there, I'm like, I don't use a chair behind a booth. Like I'm always in front of my booth, talking to people, interacting with people. And one of my colleagues was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm here to give out information, right?" So we made this little game and I had these little cards. At the time, I worked for my state Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services, and I was working on the opioid project. So we had these little cards about safe storage and Narcan and stuff. So I said, you know what? Every break, I'm going to get 25 of these in bags. Right. And some of them I could get them to hand the person that counted. If not, I was stuffing them in people's bags as they went. I said, because you know what? They're going to go home and they're going to open up their little goodie bag and see all this different stuff. And then they're going to see it. So in the moment, maybe they didn't think they wanted the information, but they're going to go home with the information. And I
Yeah.
just think that's really, it's cool to see other people doing that, like engaging and talking and not just sitting and hiding behind their booth. But you could really tell that you were passionate and you wanted to be there and you loved to be there and you were all about the cause.
Dude, and like nobody knows who I am, you know? In a grand scheme of thing, nobody knows who I am. They don't know the brand. They see the message. They don't know what it's about. So it's for me to tell the story. Until I get to a point where people know the story, where, maybe I'll be Nike one day and I can pay so much money and get advertised and then everybody will know the story, but nobody knows the story yet.
Yeah.
So it's my goal to get you, to tell you the story, to tell you what we're about, what we stand for, what the movement, what the community's about. And it's amazing how quickly people's guard goes down when they hear the story. And like you, I make it a challenge. Like I'm like, okay, everybody around me is sitting. I am going to outwork everybody here. Everybody is going to know my story. I mean, where did we go? And I told my kids, I said, "Hey, you guys stay here, man the tent. I'm going out to the tents where everybody was set up, like even at the firefighter challenge. I'm going to go introduce myself to everybody. That's, you guys just man here, make sure nobody takes anything, or if somebody wants something, sell it to them. But my goal is to get that message out. My goal is to carry the flag, is to, pass it on to the next generation. So I have to go over here and talk to all these people. I know it's going to be very, very weird, but they don't know who I am. And it just pumps me up when I see everybody else in their booth sitting behind the thing. And I'm like, yes, because I am out working every single one of you right now.
And that's how we met, is at that challenge. And my sister queen and I were going around and we wanted to meet all the vendors there and hear like why was it important for them to be there and support this. And I remember her telling me like, this guy, you got to meet this guy. And she's like, well, he's not in his booth right now, we'll come back. And then she's like, where is this guy, where's this guy? And I'm like, obviously your son knew like we were going around and we were doing these interviews, so we basically were like, hey, when he comes back, tell him to wait for us, we want to come back by and interview him. um so that's really cool to see someone else,
I
put
mean,
that
but
out there.
look, I got to hear your story.
Yeah.
Got to meet you guys, it was awesome. Like that's the thing, like that pumps me up for events. Like it's like what stories am I going to hear right now? Because the first time I saw you guys, you were walking down when they were doing the national anthem in the very beginning, and you had those you had the American flag shoes on, and I was like, dude, those are freaking sweet. Like, you know, I didn't know you guys were going to come around and do interviews and stuff. So it's funny how things happen and connections happen and stories get told. And then it's like, man, that's really cool. I love your story. And you were like, hey, I have a podcast. And I was like, hey, I have a story. Do you want, and here we are. So it's really cool. That's what I love about in-person events.
Oh yeah, you never know the connections that you're going to make. And
Never know.
I love how like multifaceted Carry the Flag is, right? And I think
Yeah,
as you hear this story, they can get behind it in so many different ways, and how you wanted to be able to show your kids like strong work ethic and have this business and potentially leave to them. But I love that you also brought up the stair climb, because I feel like you're right. When I think about it, it's like it is 2025.
yeah.
For us that were alive when 9/11 happened and we remember where we were, we remember what we were doing and how it affected and changed our lives, other people know no different.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
it's wild to think that we had this experience that forever changed our country, which some things I think you can agree with that the patriotism afterwards, like where did that go? And it does feel almost forgotten and just a piece of history that's like, oh, it's just in the history books now. When it's like this was a pivotal point in our US history, just like in Oklahoma City, we had the Oklahoma City bombing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And it's it's amazing how many people live here in Oklahoma who have never even been there, been to the museum, been to the site, know the story. And it is kind of scary to think, well, 10, 20 years from now, if we're not carrying the flag, if we're not reminding people of these stories and the importance and the
Yeah.
patriotism and the love for service and country before self, then where is our country going to be in the next 10,
Yeah.
20 years?
And I mean, being in Oklahoma City, it presented me a perfect moment to talk to my son about the Oklahoma City bombing. Because I was still, I mean, we were still pretty young at that time. Like I was, God, what was that, 93?
95. Wow, I feel like a horrible Oklahoman now. I had to like,
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. Yeah. I mean, it
yeah.
was, I shouldn't say dates like that because then it'll be like, oh, yeah, yeah. You know,
Oh,
but
and
yeah,
cut that out.
yeah, we were, uh, we were young at that time. We were really young, but I remember all of it on the news. I remember driving out, to Colorado when we were going on ski trips, and my brother would be pointing out, oh, now that I'm putting on the spot, I'm like trying to think of, it's at the military base, Fort Riley,
Oh,
right
yeah.
outside Fort Riley. That's where, hey, that's where Timothy McVeigh rented the U-Haul, and I think maybe he stayed the night out there. And it was like, oh God, So yeah, I mean, dude, it's this stuff, like you said, the patriotism after 9/11 was, I mean, dude, everybody was looking at each other, and we were like, we got each other, we got each other, like where, like how did we get to where we're at? And that's why I'm like, we need this. We need this right now more than ever. And I get so many positive messages every day over it that I'm like, okay, there's still faith here. We still have a country. I don't know if you know, but I go out and I run with my American flag now, and the honks, the fist pumps, the waves, you know, it's amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling. I had a mom stop me the other day. Yesterday, I actually had a lady run down to the street and she started filming me. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. And a mom stopped me once and she was like, hey, I'm a teacher at the school. I would love for you to come talk to the kids. She had her kids in the car and she's like, this is what I try to teach about the flag. Why is it that I get looked at like a terrorist when I'm carrying the flag running down the street? Nobody knows the story. I tell them this isn't left, this isn't right, this is America, this is all of us. They don't know the story, but I get these looks, and it's like, and I had a dude the other day, which was my first negative comment. He's like, Trump needs voted out. I was like, dude, this isn't left or right. This is America, man. God bless America. We all need to get on the same page. So having this brand, I mean, you can see the passion. It's funny because like the first beginning of this interview was like, and now the passion is out because it's like this is something we all need right now in our kids. And I was talking to somebody the other day and I said, this isn't just about our kids. This is our kids, the kids, the generations after us, that it's like, holy crap, like that's deep when you start thinking about that. Like, how many people are going to be affected by this?
Yes. And I
We
think
don't, of
like you said, we're so divided that it shouldn't be, red versus blue. It should be humans coming together. And we are going to have our different values.
course we are.
None of us are the same, right? You and I are going to agree on a lot, but we're also going to have variance in our values.
Yeah.
But a value of mine is everyone is a human being and deserves to be treated as a human. That was really funny.
I think the cat just walked by. and her tail went by, and I'm like,
It's so funny.
wait a second.
One day I'm gonna have like a bloopers reel. And that should totally be on it because that was great.
I'm like, why is it zooming out? I'm like, well, I'm not in slacks and I don't have my suit on.
Cats are the best. One time you can't see. I'm moving, so like everything's chaos. So like side notes are going. But so behind here is a cabinet and I have a picture up there. Well, my colleague, like where this frame is like you can barely see the top. So anyway, my cat jumped up there and then like knocked the picture and jumped off. And my colleague thought the cabinet was coming down and she freaked out, was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh, sorry, it's just a cat. She goes, oh no. Oh my gosh, she goes, I thought the whole cabinet was falling over. So I was like, nope, nope, just cat.
Hi, Cat. Thanks for making me look stupid. I was at a passionate time.
Oh man.
Yeah, freaking rocking out. Now I got to get pumped again. But yeah, I mean, like you were saying, how people are people. How did we get so divided? And we need to treat everybody as people. Like I said, you've seen different things that I have. I've seen different things that you have. We all have disagreements, but I'm going to tell you, majority of the people that I talk to, we're all right there in the middle. Like, how is it that we're just so divided where it's like, I don't know if it's just the media that portrays it, but it's like, hey, we all need to remember we're in this together. Like, we have this great country. We can do great things. Let's just quit listening to everything and come together. That's what Carry the Flag is all about. And like I said, running down the street, I feel like sometimes I get looked at like I'm a terrorist. And it's like, hey, you don't even know the story. You don't know the story. So why do we judge people if we don't even know the story? So
Yeah, it's we the people that make the change and make the impact with everyday actions we do. And I've shared this story before that it, I tend to, as someone as a researcher in the behavioral health space, I try and encourage people to, just be honest and speak up. So like for me, I'm like, I was I recently had my husband at an appointment to check in at the same time I had to check in. And it was one of those things where his was urgent. I'd been on the waiting list forever. I'm like, how can we make this work? So I got him all checked in. My caregiver stays with him. I go to check in at my appointment and I get a text and my caregiver's FaceTiming me. And I'm like trying to check in for my appointment. And I told the lady, I was like, I'm really sorry. I'm on edge right now. And I'm really frustrated. Not at you, but that's what's going on here. My husband's over here in the hospital trying to get some stuff done. I said, so I'm really going to try hard not for it to come out on you, but I just need you to know in this moment, that's not you. And the like humanity in that is so many people, it's received well, like, okay, or I'm really anxious right now. I'm trying not to lose my shit. I'm very frustrated, especially like customer service calls, right? Like when you have to call in and you're like mad, and this poor person is just getting beating after beating every day. But when I tell people, and I'm out and about and I say something like, yeah, my husband has brain cancer, the instant change in how people treat me and how they're nicer, they're empathetic, they're more willing to help me. I'm like, why can't we just treat everyone like their husband's dying of brain cancer?
that I mean, that's a great way of putting it. And two, there is sometimes that I forget that I'm like, damn man, I wonder what kind of day that person's having. Like,
Yes.
are they have like I don't know what their day is. You know did their parents just pass away? Like, did something, I mean, let's just be frank. Are you being an asshole or did something happen to why you're being an asshole? Like, I'd be more empathetic if I know you're just being an asshole because something happened.
And I think that all the time, trying to give people the benefit of the doubt. And I think that also goes to a place like where we're at, right? Like really focusing on seeking the light out that in situations where I see someone overreact, like at the freaking dollar store, okay, calm down, people. But if a person like overreacts and is very angry and they leave, and that poor cashier is just like, I don't know what I did wrong. I'm like, you know what? They clearly have something going on in their life to put them at that level, right? So like, let's just take a breath together and pray for that person, because that's not on you, that's not on me, but they got some shit to work through. So I think, but a lot of the times we're just so quick. We're wrapped up in our own lives that we're not willing to see each other for humans, but we're also, this is like the thing that really drives me crazy, right? Like, but we want other people to give us the grace, but we're not willing to give it to other people. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a norm. And it's so unfortunate, like you were saying, like you're just carrying a flag and people that give you looks like your tears are like, what are you doing? Why are you carrying the American flag? You must be up to something bad. Like,
Yeah.
what?
You know, and it's funny that you say that because I'm doing a challenge right now where I'm carrying the flag on a run for 7 days because we're announcing our collaboration on Saturday for another brand that we're working with. I literally was on my run yesterday and I said, because I have an old set of bunker gear here, and I'm like, I wonder how people would react if I was in bunker gear running with, the flag. I have a feeling that the reactions would be way different than if it was just me out there. Because I mean, dude, look, like I'm a big guy. I got a shaved head. Like I'm running with a flag. Everybody's like, "Oh, friggin'," you
Yeah.
know. So, like, I'm an intimidating guy. Like I was like, I wonder how much wall would fall if people saw me in, as it's a firefighter running with the flag. Like, okay, like, you know.
Okay, that makes sense.
But then I was also like, I wonder what the reactions would be if I flipped this flag upside down and ran with it. Like, it's just kind of that experiment where you're like, man, like, would I get more honks if the flag was upside down? Like, I don't know. It's just really weird how, just one thing can can symbolize something where you're like, hey, this is us. Like, this isn't left or right. This is us. Like, we're Americans. We have this great country. We've got the greatest country in the world. Like, we're acting like buffoons because that's, kind of the way it's designed was to keep us separated. Because if you keep us separated, then we're controlled. But if we all unite, like, that's a very powerful thing. We all come from different backgrounds. We all have different backgrounds. I see it every single day when I go on calls, like you see everybody where it's like, hey, we all are just the same. Yeah, we may come from different places, but we're all Americans and we all have these values. I know we have these values. It's just, I don't know, like, it's just like social media just brings out the bad in people where we're like, I mean, because if you just watch social media for a couple days, next thing you know is like, man, everybody hates each other. But then, like, when you go out to the store, you're like, we all don't hate each other. People are saying hi to each other. It's just, yeah. And that's what I want this to be. I want this to be positive, not negative. There's too much negativity. And carrying the flag is carrying the flag for all the World War II vets, World War One vets, Revolutionary War, like all of this stuff of what made this country great, So
Yeah. And
sorry if I left anybody out on the wars. I know there's Vietnam, there's a lot, but you know what I mean.
yeah, definitely. And I think that that's something that as we're even just talking about 9/11, how for us it wasn't that long ago, but for people who didn't experience it, it's all these different parts that make up our history that make us America and who we are and why.
Well, I mean, now that you say that, let's put it in this perspective. Neither one of us were born when Pearl Harbor happened, you know? So it's hard for us to really like show passion for it because it was like, oh, well, we saw it in the textbooks in history, but we didn't live it. Where 9/11 we lived, and that's why there's more passion to it. Where my kids they may see it in a history book. I don't even know if it's in the history book, but that's a good question that I'm going to ask them tonight. But that there's just a thing that where, like you said, you see that guy wearing the World War II hat, like, dude, that guy's seen some serious shit. Like those guys, all of our vets, and again, I always go back to war because that's like the worst, thing there is. But I mean, but like the hardworking Americans that built this country. I mean, we went through some shit, the Great Depression, all this stuff to get to where we're at to fight over this stupid shit.
Yeah, I am right there with you.
Here's the language.
I and it's astonishing. It's astonishing how and you also think about how far our country's come. And are we perfect? Absolutely not. No human is perfect, but how we treat each other is what's really going to make the difference. You know, we can complain about this, we can complain about that, but are you treating your neighbor with love and respect and decency? And I think a lot of people forget that we are the change. And it's probably like one of the most quoted quotes, Gandhi, like, be the change you wish to see in the world. No, every day we are the change. We get to choose what that change is by our actions. Are we the good change or are we the bad change? And I love that carry the flag, I view as a good change, is reminding people to come together. We are one nation united. Let's start acting that way and it starts with your home. I love that you had brought up before about, family first, right? That is one of your core values. I'm going to put my family first. I'm going to take care of my family. I'm going to be there. And that's something that a lot of families have veered from. Is they're not, we don't have, a family first or faith first, right? It's all these outside things that we choose. If
Yeah.
we can focus inward on our own kitchen table, right? And then focus on our neighbors and our communities, and that's how we're really going to better this world and how we're going to make our country united, is it's our everyday actions.
Yeah. Be the change. You nailed that right there. I had to write a note that I'm like, okay, that could, because I mean, it's like the truth. Be the change, you know? And when my buddy said that, who's going to carry the flag? I'm like, all right, like, dude, we need this. Like, this is what we need. We need to be the change. We need to be the example. We need to lead from the front. And I even say that on some of my runs when I do, the video of it. It's like, hey, lead from the front. Some people just need that person of hope of, hey, all right, like, all right, this isn't as bad as everybody's making it out to be. Like everything's seems like it's blown up around us, but like, hey, we're all here. Like I got your back just like you got my back. Like that's the way it used to be. Let's get back there, you know? Everything's just been so divided and like I hope that carry the flag can be that positive change where, like you said, the positive change, the change, like you just sat there and said it.
Yeah, I think hate breeds hate, but love grows love. And it's things that we don't invest in enough of, is that positive push forward. And I love that you're leaving such a beautiful legacy for your family and that they're involved in Carry the Flag, being at these events, seeing how much it means to people, getting to share stories, even your son. So I have my husband there who's
Yeah.
maybe veteran in a wheelchair, nonverbal, and your son was so loving to him. And that's always something that really just brightens my heart when people treat my husband like a human and they say, "Hey, I'm so and so. How are you?" And he's only got use of one hand, and the immediate reaction, like when he sticks up his left hand, that's not normal. Most people expect the right hand. The immediate switch of hands, or still grabbing his hand, no matter what hand you've stuck out, grabbing it and shaking it and saying, "So great to meet you." And, listening to him as he says, why? Um, People who know me personally or who have got to experience conversations with my husband can really understand what that means, but it's such a
I think you
beautiful
were like,
moment.
use your words. But like you said, somebody looking at that's like, oh, that's really mean. But you're just trying to, be, hey, like I'm just because you're in this situation doesn't mean you're going to get treated any different.
Yeah.
Like we're, you, it's just tough love, where it's like, hey, like yes, you're in this bad situation, but we're still going to treat you like, a human being. We're still like, we're not going to let this overcome us,
Yeah.
you know, and kind of, and I know like I tell my kids, like, hey, how do you react when shit hits the fan?
Hmm.
Like when adversity hits you, when your family like went through, like, dude, it was amazing. And that's the adversity. Those are the things, those are the values, those are the things that I'm trying to teach. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was cool. It was really cool.
Yeah.
I,
And that's another great example, like, treating people like humans. And I've been in adaptive sports for, gosh, like 10 years now, pretty much. And that's something that you see a lot, is that people are, I mean, even in the suicide prevention world, right? People are so scared to say something wrong. They just don't say anything at all. And then you're isolating people. So like for people who are scared to say hi to my husband who's in a wheelchair, I'm like, just talk to him like a normal human. Just treat him like a human being because he needs that connection, just like I need that connection and you need that connection. And if we can all get behind coming together and just treating everyone with decency and respect and moving forward, like that's going to move mountains and it's going to make waves. And I love all these values that you're bringing, that you're showing your kids, and then you're building this legacy for others to be able to rally behind and get behind. And I think it's really cool what you're doing. I want to make sure if there's anything else that you wanted to cover, if we missed. I mean, I know we've chatted about a lot of different things, and sometimes it's almost like we go in circles, or sometimes we go in zigzags.
No, I mean it's no, I mean definitely that's just kind of what, like as you sit there and you think about it, you're like, hey, we can be different. We're going to have differences. We're going to do all that. That's what makes us American, that we can do these things, whatever protests that you want. Let's make it a peaceful protest. We all have differences. You can speak up too. Let's just be humane about it and and just have a great country and quit this negativity. But no, that's just getting out the values of the brand and what we're doing and all that. That's kind of what, that's what made this connection at the event was, hey, what's that guy harassing everybody for? Yeah.
I'm walking around sticking mics in front of people's faces. Tell me more. Tell me more.
Yeah, but I mean that's what it's about. Like I sit there and say this isn't left, this isn't right. And this isn't me. This is us. This is America. Like that's what we're trying to get out here. So, if any of your viewers agrees with that and wants to, follow along with the movement, become part of the community, I do give out free stickers just to get the message out, just to continue that. So if anybody's watching here and wants a free sticker, go to the website, carrytheflagusa.com, and I give out free stickers for that. I look at a lot of brands and they don't give out the free stickers. And I'm like, how long will I be able to afford this? As long as we continue this movement, it'll continue to happen because we need that positivity, the change. We need this movement of all of that. So if anybody's interested, grab yourself a sticker, so
I love it. Well, I appreciate you so much for coming on. We'll have the links below how people can connect with you and visit your website and see all the awesome swag that you have out there. Again, I just appreciate your time and coming and sharing your passion. I love that you have this passion project and that you have so much meaning and depth behind it that I can't wait to see where it grows.
yeah, I mean, definitely. I'm very active on Instagram. Carry the Flag USA. I will be on there. Like I said, you can check me out. Hey, I'm gonna start doing challenges. We're gonna start doing like run challenges with the flag, or ruck challenges with the flag, or just taking pictures with a flag. A small thing that I just tell everybody: just put an American flag up on your house. Like I understand that people look bad upon it right now, but it's just a positive, like we all are Americans. That's what I challenge everybody. Hey, just as simple as putting an American flag up. I find it funny that my neighbors all have their sports flags up of their favorite teams, but won't put the American flag up. Where have we gone that the American flag isn't on everybody's house? So if my ultimate goal is if I could get an American flag on everybody's house, that would be amazing. But yeah, Instagram is where I'm active at every single day. I'll be on there. You send me a DM on there. It may not be right away, but I will answer it. And carrytheflagusa.com is where we have all our merch and we have the free stickers on there if you guys want. Like I said, we're in the talks of getting some carry the flag flags made, some patches, things like that. So all fun and positive stuff to have out. So
Yeah. Well, I love that so much, and definitely check Chris out and his amazing organization.
thank you, Jessica, for having me. It was awesome meeting you and your husband at the Firefighter Challenge.
Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. If you found this episode inspiring, please share it with someone you never know who needs more light in their life. May this serve as a reminder that there's always darkness in the world. Do not let it consume you. Always seek the light. Please take a moment to do the good old subscribe, rate, and review. Your support means so much to me, and it helps me spread more light and love. Until next time, be kind, be loving, be human, and don't ever let anyone steal your hope.